family and dear friends from far and wide, it is my pleasure and great honor to welcome you to the marriage ceremony of Mr. Lincoln Sedlacek and Mr. Andrew Jankarik. On behalf of the couple, I want to thank everyone for making the journey to join us here in beautiful Escondido, California. I also want to take a moment to thank everyone who made it possible for us to gather here today. The scientists and manufacturers of the vaccines that protect us, the flight crews who safely brought us here on our journeys, and everyone here at Escondido for welcoming us this weekend. To all of them and countless others, thank you for your hard work and dedication for making this day possible. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Ava Sun, and I got to know Lincoln during college and Andrew later while we were living together in Los Angeles. My friendship with the couple has spanned New Haven, Houston, Los Angeles, San Diego, and Dallas, with at least 5 graduations between the 3 of us. I am honored to consider them some of my dearest friends and to be here today to celebrate with you all. Lincoln and I lived in the same dorm together during our 4 years at Yale. I quickly noticed a warmth and openness to him that makes you feel like you could tell him anything without ever feeling judged. We were freshman counselors together, and I saw how comfortable the freshmen felt confiding in him, despite having only moved in. Lincoln became someone I could always turn to for comforting words and a magically soothing hug. Even in stressful situations, his buoyant personality could always lift your spirits. During our senior year, we drove down from New Haven to Myrtle Beach for the much anticipated senior trip that everyone raved about. For me, though, the highlight wasn't partying on the beach, but the 2-day car ride down. We simply enjoyed each other's company, laughing, singing Disney songs, and planning where to stop for my first taste of Waffle House. After college, though, Lincoln moved to Texas and I headed back to California. I was toiling through my 3rd year of medical school at UCLA when Lincoln reached out and told me he was visiting with a potential of moving out west. That brings me to how I first met Andrew. I remember opening my door to see a friendly face carrying a bottle of wine and arms wide open for a hug. It seemed to foreshadow, in retrospect, the many get-togethers where Andrew would come bearing a great bottle of wine or fun craft beer, and of course, lots and lots of hugs. Even after just one visit, I could see how Andrew's personality complements Lincoln's. Andrew's sassy remarks bounce off of Lincoln's dry jokes. Andrew's pragmatism fuses with Lincoln's idealism to create some very impressive decision-making strategies. I could see how they could start a conversation from completely opposite sides and then meeting each other somewhere in the middle. Lincoln and Andrew are some of the most generous people I know. For Andrew, this means finding the best credit card and airline deals while mapping out all the travel logistics. Lincoln's generosity takes the form of baking delicious pies and creating customized cocktails. I, too, have become more generous just by being around them. I have consistently volunteered as tribute to test these pies and cocktails, even the weirdly colored ones. Andrew quickly became a close friend, and he's been with me to celebrate weddings, graduations, and birthdays, but also to be a source of calm and level-headedness when I was overwhelmed with frustration and fear. There's a quiet but loving thoughtfulness to everything he does. He buys not 1, but 2 beach umbrellas to make sure everyone can get some shade. He's always making sure to fill up everyone else's wine glass before filling up his own. He goes out of his way to make sure the people around him feel cared for and loved. Over the years, this is why I brought pockets. I found myself feeling so incredibly lucky that we got to overlap with each other at UCLA. Lincoln and Andrew's friendship was a ray of sunshine that helped brighten a particularly difficult time in my life. Even though I moved to San Diego and they moved to Dallas, we managed to find each other back in Los Angeles this past fall. This time, Lincoln was attending business school at UCLA, and I was starting out as a general pediatrician. The last couple of years have not been easy for anyone, but being able to spend time with Lincoln and Andrew was one of the silver linings. Our friendship has become one of those special bonds where things just seem to fall into place seamlessly. But I know that it is grounded in mutual kindness, generosity, and love. That's also what I see between Andrew and Lincoln. Their relationship has been a shining example of what a healthy romantic partnership can look like. They've taught me that the small things do matter, whether it's an offer to grab the other person a coffee, a small peck on the cheek, or deciding to splurge on the deluxe pedicures. These little things add up. They've also taught me the importance of communication. To give each other the time and space to have a proper discussion about things that may not be pleasant but are important. While I cannot claim to have any personal marriage experience, I can say that I've learned a lot about life and relationships from taking care of children and their families as a pediatrician. I'll share some pieces of wisdom now, but I have a feeling that Lincoln and Andrew already follow these. The first is to address problems as they arrive and not to let them fester. I know you have both watched Dr. Pimple Popper and can see how a small little pimple can become a giant problem, requiring incision and drainage. Tackle issues as they come up instead of letting them grow and potentially explode. Second is to fill your own cup. You are both thoughtful, kind, and generous, but that can make it easy to lose track of your own needs when you focus so much on others. Taking care of yourself will make it easier and more sustainable to be available for each other. And lastly, keep learning from each other. Our dreams can change, even if we're adults, and having an open mind will help you learn and grow with each other. And now we will have Lincoln's brother, Quentin, read a passage from Justice Kennedy's decision in Obergefell v. Hodges. This landmark Supreme Court case legalized same-sex marriage in the United States.
No union is more profound than marriage, for it embodies the highest ideals of love, fidelity, devotion, sacrifice, and family. In forming a marital union, two people become something greater than once they were. As some of the petitioners in these cases demonstrate, marriage embodies a love that may endure even past death. It would misunderstand these men and women to say they disrespect the idea of marriage. Their plea is that they do respect it so deeply that they seek to find its fulfillment for themselves. Their hope is not to be condemned to live in loneliness, excluded from one of civilization's oldest institutions. They ask for equal dignity in the eyes of the law. The Constitution grants them that right.
Andrew and Lincoln have written their own vows for each other, which they will now share, starting with Andrew.
Okay. Thank you, Ava. Lincoln, our first date happened in a rainstorm. A torrential, unending tropical rainstorm on a September night in Houston. It was the kind of rainstorm that made us huddle close together underneath an umbrella and linger much longer than we otherwise would have. But it wasn't just the fear of getting wet, your beautiful blue eyes, or your magnetic sense of humor that kept me glued to that hard wooden bench. I felt the hint of possibility. What I didn't know that night was that you would have a profound impact on my life, that you would push me to be the best version of myself. That first date started a relationship that has spanned 8.5 years, thousands of miles, and 9 different addresses. So many addresses, in fact, that in my grandmother's address book, we will forever be a sticky note. That first date started something life-changing that we are here to celebrate today. Now, if you ask me, the last date of our courtship happened in a place that was climatologically the exact opposite of that first one. We were sitting on top of a sand dune in White Sands, New Mexico, not a drop of water to be found. We were on our first journey to Los Angeles so that I could go to business school at UCLA. It was a tough decision for you to leave Houston and come with me. You left behind a vibrant group of friends and coworkers to follow me as I chased some vague, half-baked notion of what I might want to do with my life. I was so unbelievably happy to have you there with me on that journey, that road trip, just to have you sitting next to me on top of that dune, that I decided to pull my camera out and record a video of the moment. The sun was setting behind mountains as wispy crimson and magenta clouds gracefully danced across a gentle blue sky. While I wasn't about to propose then, it was the kind of place a smart person might pick for a proposal. As I got the camera out of my bag, before I could get a single word out of my mouth, you said, in the way that only you can with your dry sense of humor, "This had better not be an effing proposal." You didn't say effing. That's when I knew. That's when, under the most beautiful sunset I have ever seen, sitting next to the most beautiful man, who was actively professing how much he did not want me to propose to him, that's when I chose you. Maybe it was reverse psychology, maybe it was, I just like a challenge. But looking back, that is when I decided not just that I wanted to propose, but that I wanted you to say yes. Lincoln, as we get ready to make our commitment to each other here today in front of all those who are closest to us, I want you to know why I chose you. Your sense of humor is something that always makes me smile. While I haven't heard your vows yet, I am sure yours will be the ones we all remember for the witty, inventive, and slightly obscure jokes. You know how to make all of us laugh, and I am so grateful to have that joy in my life. Your sense of humor doesn't come from nowhere. It's derived from that big brain of yours. And I'm not just talking about your encyclopedic memory of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Your curiosity, imagination, and willingness to try new things all make my life so much better. Now, all that brain power would make many men arrogant, self-absorbed, and just awful to be around. But not you. Your kindness, compassion, and focus on the well-being of others runs deeper than I can describe. And not only do you focus on what really matters, but you also have the strength to remind me when I forget. Finally, your best qualities aren't all between your ears. Those big blue eyes, the snuggles, the way you squeeze my feet after a long day, they're all part of what simply makes you the best. So, before I get to my vows, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that there will be hard times that we will have to face. One or both of us might face a serious health problem as we age. There will be career setbacks. We might not always completely agree on some big life decisions. It will not always be easy to be an out and proud gay couple. In the close to 9 years that we've spent together, we've faced some of these kinds of challenges. And I know there are more to come, but I also know that there is no one else I would rather face them with than you. And that, my dear, is my first vow. Traditional as it may be, it is still the most important. In sickness or health, for richer or poorer, I'll be here with you till the end. Lincoln, I promise to be your partner, your best friend, your cheerleader, your advocate. I promise to put the good of both of us ahead of myself. I promise to only drag you on one annual ski trip. Maybe. I also promise to make seeing the changing of the autumn leaves just as important of a trip to take. I promise to respect you and your choices because I know that your decisions are what's best for both of us. I promise to protect you to the best of my ability from that which would seek to hurt you. Lincoln, I promise to hide underneath an umbrella in the rain with you. I promise to watch the sunset from the top of a sand dune and not propose to you. And finally, my sweetheart, I promise to love you now and forever.
And now we'll hear from Lincoln.
Andrew, before our first date, I had been given some advice by a friend. If I meet someone new and I want them to feel like they're having a really good time, just ask them questions. And when they answer, ask a follow-up question, and another, and so on. So there I was, on our first date, a boy sitting in front of a boy, stuck in a cycle of asking you to explain every single detail of the business strategy book you'd offhandedly mentioned you were reading. Luckily, the date quickly improved. We finished our meal, and you recommended we continue the night at Bar Bohem, a few blocks away. As we drank frozen mint mojitos on their outdoor patio, a classic Houston thunderstorm descended on us. It was so quick, so sudden, we had no time to retreat indoors. Instead, we were trapped under the umbrella of our patio table. Not that we minded. Slowly, we inched closer together to avoid the chilling rain. An arm went over a shoulder, knees touched, sparks flew, a connection was formed, our relationship had begun. When I was a kid, the adults around me would often tell me, these are the best years of your life. Middle school, high school, college, it wouldn't get any better than this, they always said. Back then, I didn't know whether to believe them or not. Now, with the benefit of experience, I know that they were wrong. Don't misunderstand, I've been blessed with many wonderful years, full of loving family, beautiful friendships, a great education, and transformational experiences. But the best years of my life so far have been the ones I've spent with you. I remember paddle boating together in Herman Park on one of our earliest dates. We laughed at the mobility of our boat, which could turn anywhere from slightly left to very sharply left. We were stuck trying to make our way back to shore for what felt like hours, and I got mildly sunburnt. Ever since, you've always had me at the forefront of your mind whenever we spend a day outdoors. You've checked UV forecasts and taught me how to check them too. Found a shade, and when necessary, you've actually gotten me to apply sunscreen. Your caring nature and attentiveness to my needs, going far beyond skin safety, is something that's made me not just feel loved for the past 9 years, but also kept me safe, sound, healthy, and happy. Another memory I cherish from these best past 9 years of my life, our first visit to UCLA back in 2016. We ate sugarfish, got bubble tea, went to the beach, got rescued from a stuck elevator by firemen, the whole package, and best of all, I saw your face lit up as you talked to your soon-to-be classmates and thought about the future you were building. The future, just a few weeks before, we decided we'd build together. I was coming with. I've always admired the vision you have for your own future and the drive you have to build it, and I've always been grateful for the way you've pushed me to think proactively about my own future as well. You've always made space for us to build a future together. One last great memory I wanted to share, our fantastic trip to Puerto Rico in February 2020. I was stressing, waiting to hear back from the MBA programs I had just interviewed with. You had the perfect solution to that stress, flight benefits, and you whisked me away for a relaxing weekend of warm pools, swim-up bars, and gorgeous ocean views. I remember walking with you along the beach after a long day of just talking and enjoying each other's company, and suddenly realizing that I hadn't felt stressed since we'd arrived. I was utterly relaxed enjoying your company, and soaking in the colors of the beautiful Puerto Rican sunset, the second most beautiful thing in sight next to you. Thank you so much for seeing when I've been working hard, maybe too hard, and encouraging me or forcing me to close the laptop, dial down my work mode, and enjoy the present moment. Those were some of the good times, but of course not every single moment has been pure bliss. Just a few weeks after that February 2020 Puerto Rico trip, we were stuck in our apartment, watching the news of a global pandemic that was wreaking havoc worldwide. I was still underemployed. You were wondering if your job was going to disappear. We made the decision to delay this. And hey, that was actually probably some of the best part of year one of the pandemic. And there have been plenty of other hard times in our relationship. Overwhelming work environments, terrible bosses, stressful career changes, family losses, moments of depression, but through it all, I have felt supported and loved. Even when on paper, our situation maybe shouldn't have been described as happy, I've been happy with you. In the end, the bad times, bad as they've been, usually feel something like the end of that first date. Yes, we may be surrounded by a chilling downpour of rain, so thick it's blotting out everything around us, but that's okay. We're huddled close in our own little haven, the metaphorical umbrella of our relationship. I'm warm, dry, safe, and happy as long as I'm holding you. So like I said, these years with you have been the best years of my life. But I do like to think that the rest of our life together will be even better. And there are so many things I want to do to make it so. When we first started dating, I don't think I really made any vows or promises, except maybe to never again clean out a bowl of Torchy's queso with my finger and lick it off in public. So, now, some real vows for the rest of our life together. I promise to tell you that I love you often, and show you that I love you even more. I promise to keep learning how to spend less time with work and more with you. I promise to give you a firm hug in the moments when you doubt yourself, and remind you that you are the most competent, capable, incredible person I've ever met. I promise to go on ski trips with you, maybe even more than once per year, provided there's a hot tub on site. I promise to stay still as long as possible when we're lying together on the couch and it becomes increasingly clear that you've fallen asleep with your head resting on my hip. I promise when we're finishing dinner and you're stressed out about work that I'll start playing romantic music on my phone and slow dance with you in the kitchen. I promise to be honest with you, even when it might mean saying something that's hard to say or hear. And I promise to hold the safe, supportive space for you to be just as honest with me. I promise when we're having a heated conversation that I'll tell you what I hear you're saying and ask you if I'm right to make sure my own insecurities and pet peeves aren't putting words in your mouth. And I promise to admit when I realize you are right, as is often the case. I promise to dream with you and to have you dream with me, to dream together, even though we usually fall asleep at different times. I promise not to expect you to change into someone different, but only to grow into an even more incredible version of yourself, as I've already watched you do several times over. And finally, even when our life together may seem perfect, I promise to never stop growing with you to make it even better. After all, the past 9 years have been the best of my life so far. I can't wait to see what our future together brings. Love you, babe.
So now, please take these rings and repeat after me. Andrew. You're gonna give the ring first. Andrew,
Andrew,
I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my promise
as a symbol of my promise
to love you through all that life may bring us.
to love you through all that life may bring us.
And Lincoln,
Lincoln,
I give you this ring
I give you this ring
as a symbol of my promise
as a symbol of my promise
to love you through all that life may bring us.
to love you through all that life may bring us.
Do you, Andrew, take Lincoln to be your lawfully wedded husband, your friend, and your partner wherever life may take you?
I do.
And do you, Lincoln, take Andrew to be your lawfully wedded husband, your friend, and your partner wherever life may take you?
I do.
Before these witnesses, you have pledged to be joined in marriage. You have now sealed this pledge with your wedding rings. By the power vested in me by the state of California, I now pronounce you husband and husband.